Good morning. This is Garry Glaub in Mooresville, North Carolina. Today we're going to cover Revelation chapter 17, verses 7 through 18, and I'm calling this one Mystery Babylon Part 2. For me, this is one of the most difficult chapters in Revelation, as yesterday's lesson included the longest introduction yet, as I wanted to set the stage. I'm going to go directly into the verses in today's lesson. Let's read the first passage today in Revelation. Revelation 17, verses 7 through 8 says this: But the angel said to me, Why did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition. And those who dwell on the earth will marvel, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they see the beast that was and is not and yet is. In the last part of Revelation 17:6, John said, And when I saw her, I marveled with great amazement. Think about that for a moment, especially after going through all we have so far in Revelation. This is the first time that John seems to be amazed. In the King James Version, this is translated, I wondered with great admiration, or with great wonder. John seems to be a bit perplexed, and if admiration is the correct translation, I am also perplexed. Neither the serpent beast, who is also the dragon and Satan, nor the woman who rides the beast, had any admirable qualities. But it would appear that John is amazed at the restoration of the Roman Empire and how these two things fit together. The Antichrist ruling the world and a worldwide false religion. Maybe John is perplexed, as I am. This is not the easiest chapter to grasp. Thankfully, the angel will continue in his explanation, calling attention to the mystery of both the woman and the beast who carries her. We once again hear about 7 heads and 10 horns, and that should remind us of Daniel's description of the Antichrist in Daniel 7, where Daniel said that the 10 horns were 10 kings who would rise. This description of the beast by the angel is a bit confusing as well. I thought the beast was Satan, and if so, when is it that he did not exist? This could refer to the Roman Empire that existed at one time, then didn't exist, and will exist again. It was, it is not, which means it does not exist presently, though it still did exist in John's lifetime, and it will rise again and then go to perdition. But how does an empire go to perdition? Maybe it is referring to the Antichrist, with the mortal head wound that the Antichrist will receive and recover from. It could be any of these. It could be 2 of these things, or all 3. It could be none of these things. John is amazed, and I am perplexed. The mention of ascending out of the bottomless pit does, though, identify the demonic nature, as that is the location where previously judged fallen angels have been chained. Perdition is the final place for those who have not received salvation. Unbelievers on the earth will marvel when they see the beast that lived and died, or appeared to die, and lives again. That part makes sense. Christians, true believers, know that God has the power over death, and we believe in healing and the miracles of Jesus. I don't think the Antichrist will die, because Satan does not have power over death or the power to resurrect. But as he loves to copy Jesus, and Jesus came back to life after the cross, Satan will try to copy that as much as he can. Okay, let's attempt the next passage. Revelation chapter 17, verses 9 through 11 says this: Here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. There are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short time. The beast that was and is not is himself also the 8th and is of the seven and is going to perdition. Sorry. Here we go down the trail again. And this one seems to point a little bit to Catholicism once again. Jerusalem does not have 7 hills. And Babylon is as flat as a pancake, ranging in elevation from a low of 92 feet to a high of 105 feet. Not real hilly. But the 7 hills of Rome are world-renowned, with those hills being the central part of the city. Athens also has 7 hills. But when we combine the descriptions in this prophecy to a city of 7 hills, along with the fact that the city must also be the centralized religious city that has committed fornication with the kings of the earth, it seems like a slam dunk that this will be Rome and Vatican City. God refers to Jerusalem as his holy city. Catholics have named Rome, and Vatican City in particular, the Holy City, with the Holy See being the government of the worldwide Catholic Church. This passage also mentions 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 still exists, and another is yet to come. This seems to refer to the empires of Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, which were but are no more, and the one that still exists, at least in John's knowledge right then, is Rome, and then one yet to come, the restored Roman Empire. When the last ruler comes, he will not rule for long. Let's go to the next passage, Revelation 17, verses 12 through 14. The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. They are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. My goodness, this is the first passage in this chapter that actually makes sense to me. Maybe I'm growing slightly accustomed to the symbolism, but honestly, it is the only passage that really matters. The angel tells John of 10 kings who will be given authority for a very short period of time under the rule of the Antichrist. I am guessing that as the Antichrist is a world ruler, that the world will be split into 10 regions. But the important part is that they will all make war with Jesus, the Lord of lords, the King of kings, and the followers of Jesus. All followers of Jesus are the called, chosen, and faithful. We can split doctrinal hairs and argue over who does the choosing, us or Jesus. But though we may have a part to play, Jesus chose us. We are not called the choosers. Instead of wondering why he didn't choose others, we should begin by wondering why he chose us. The Lamb will overcome them. The rest of the book of Revelation just fills in the details of the characters, circumstances, and judgments, but we know 3 important details. Jesus will overcome. We will overcome with him. This difficult time only will go on for 7 years, big picture, and 3.5 years, little picture. Okay, let's address the last passage today. Revelation chapter 17, verses 15 through 18 says this. Then he said to me, the waters which you saw, where the harlot sits, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to fulfill his purpose, to be of one mind, and to give their kingdom to the beast, until the words of God are fulfilled. And the woman whom you saw is that great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. This is one of the many reasons that we must read ahead before completing a study on earlier verses. At the beginning of Revelation chapter 17, the angel spoke of the harlot that sits on many waters. If we had just finished that part of the study, we would have found out that the angel gave us an interpretation of that term later in the chapter. And I did include that in the previous study. Many waters are the peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues of the earth. This harlot has authority in the entire world, not governmental authority like the Antichrist, but spiritual authority, maybe like a pope would have. Now we also can see that she isn't a ship. She isn't a person. She isn't the Antichrist or the false prophet. The angel describes the woman as the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. The Roman Empire reached farther and further than all previous empires, and after conquering the kings of those lands, they ruled over them. I'm going to step out on a limb here and say that the harlot is Rome. Finally, we need to understand what is happening. First, the Antichrist is ruling the earth as the governmental world leader. The false prophet is the spiritual leader, the mouth, and the false prophet works to promote the Antichrist, increase his power and ministry. Both of those two men are aligned with Satan, the scarlet dragon, and this is how Satan has planned his war against Jesus. Once again, Satan will battle Jesus for the title deed of the earth. While Satan has been granted dominion on the earth, previously given to Adam, his time is now short. Satan is willing to take everyone down with him and will do anything to ensure those people do not turn to Jesus. After the rapture, I think, the Roman Catholic Church will provide an easy pipeline to instill false worship around the world, and this process will be governed from the Vatican. But the Antichrist and false prophet will get to a point where false religion is not enough. It needs to be more personal than that. After all, Jesus was a prophet, a king, and a priest. The Antichrist no longer will be satisfied with kingship, ruling the world. Now he also will want to be worshipped as God. This will begin with the abomination of desolation, when the Jewish temple will be desecrated. An image to the Antichrist will be placed there, and the image will have the abilities to talk, breathe, and breathe fire, and kill anyone not willing to worship the Antichrist. It sounds like that this is the time when Rome will fall, the Vatican will fall. The 10 kings under the Antichrist will hate the harlot, hate Rome, and will make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. This is another example of God using people who hate him for his purposes. The destruction of Rome and its false religion is just fine with God, and he will certainly put it on their hearts to fulfill his purpose. Rome and Vatican City will change hands from the spiritual leaders of the church to the Antichrist, and the Antichrist and Satan will continue in their attempt to become God. Remember, the 5 of the Roman emperors were deified. They were worshipped as gods, and their successors built temples to them. Julius, Augustus, Claudius, Vespasian, and Titus. Rome seems like the perfect place for Satan, through the Antichrist and false prophet, to attempt to glorify self. But time is growing short, and Satan's fantasy is about to end. This is Garry Glaub in Mooresville, North Carolina. Have a blessed day.